The case of Lawrence Bittaker and Roy Norris, infamously known as the Toolbox Killers, is one of the most harrowing and brutal in the annals of American criminal history. In 1979, the pair abducted, tortured, and murdered 5 teenage girls in Southern California. Their methodical and sadistic crimes shocked the nation and left an indelible scar on the victims' families and the community. This video delves into the details of their heinous acts, the investigation that led to their capture, and the impact of their crimes. Lawrence Bittaker and Roy Norris, the criminal minds. Lawrence Bittaker and Roy Norris first met in 1978 while serving time at the California Men's Colony in San Luis Obispo. Bittaker, born in 1940, had a history of criminal behavior, including theft, assault, and attempted murder. Norris, born in 1948, also had a lengthy criminal record, with convictions for rape and assault. The two men quickly bonded over their shared sadistic fantasies and hatred of women. After their release in 1979, Bittaker and Norris reunited and began to plan their horrific crimes. They purchased a 1977 GMC cargo van, which they nicknamed Murder Mac, and outfitted it with tools of torture, including pliers, hammers, and ice picks. Their goal was to abduct, torture, and murder young girls, recording their acts of brutality for their twisted pleasure. The crimes. The duo's crime spree began on June 24, 1979, with the abduction of 16-year-old Lucinda Cindy Schaefer. While hitchhiking, Schaefer was lured into the van by Bittaker and Norris, who overpowered her and drove her to a remote location in the San Gabriel Mountains. Over the next several hours, Schaefer was brutally tortured and raped before being strangled to death with a wire coat hanger. Her body was then dumped into a canyon. In July 1979, they abducted 18-year-old Andrea Hall in a similar manner. Hall was also taken to the mountains, where she was subjected to unspeakable acts of torture before being killed. The men recorded their brutalization of Hall, using audio tapes to capture her screams and pleas for mercy. In September 1979, Bittaker and Norris abducted 13-year-old Jackie Gilliam and 15-year-old Leah Lamb. The girls were held captive for 2 days, enduring relentless torture and sexual assault. Bittaker and Norris used pliers to mutilate their bodies, a detail that would later earn them the moniker Toolbox Killers. Both girls were eventually killed, and their bodies were discarded in the mountains. The duo's final known victim was 16-year-old Shirley Lynette Ledford, abducted on October 31, 1979. Ledford's murder was particularly gruesome, as Bittaker and Norris recorded the entire ordeal on audio tape. The recording, which was played during their trial, captured Ledford's screams and the horrific sounds of her being tortured and mutilated. Her body was later found discarded on a suburban lawn, a final act of callousness that shocked the community. The investigation and capture. The brutal nature of the crimes and the randomness of the abductions made the investigation challenging for law enforcement. However, a breakthrough came in November 1979 when Roy Norris bragged about the murders to a friend, who then informed the police. Norris was arrested, and under intense interrogation, he confessed the crimes and implicated Bittaker. Based on Norris's confession, the police obtained a search warrant for Bittaker's apartment and van. The evidence they found was overwhelming. Photographs of the victims, tools used in the torture, and the chilling audio recordings of the murders. Bittaker was arrested, and both men were charged with multiple counts of kidnapping, rape, torture, and murder. The trial and conviction. The trial of Lawrence Bittaker and Roy Norris began in early 1981 and quickly garnered national attention. The prosecution presented a compelling case, supported by Norris's testimony, the physical evidence, and the horrific audio recordings of the murders. The tapes, in particular, left an indelible mark on everyone in the courtroom, highlighting the sheer brutality of the crimes. Norris, having agreed to testify against Bittaker in exchange for a reduced sentence, detailed their crimes in graphic detail. He described how they had planned and executed the abductions, the methods of torture they used, and the eventual murders of their victims. His testimony painted a chilling picture of 2 men driven by sadistic pleasure and a complete lack of remorse. Bittaker's defense attempted to discredit Norris's testimony and argued that Bittaker was not present during the murders. However, the overwhelming evidence presented by the prosecution left little room for doubt. After a 4-month trial, Bittaker was found guilty on all counts and sentenced to death. Norris, having pleaded guilty and cooperated with authorities, received a life sentence with the possibility of parole. Psychological analysis. The case of the Toolbox Killers provides a disturbing insight into the minds of sadistic predators. Both Bittaker and Norris exhibited traits of psychopathy, characterized by a lack of empathy, remorse, and guilt. Their meticulous planning and execution of the crimes, coupled with their enjoyment of the suffering they inflicted, highlight the extreme nature of their sadistic tendencies. The pair's ability to form a criminal partnership based on their shared fantasies underscores the potential for individuals with similar pathologies to amplify each other's deviant behaviors. This case also emphasizes the importance of understanding the psychological factors that drive such extreme behavior and the need for early intervention and monitoring of individuals displaying signs of violent tendencies. Impact on victims' families and the community. The impact of Bittaker and Norris's crimes on the victims' families and the community was profound and long-lasting. The families of the murdered girls were left to grapple with the unimaginable grief and trauma of losing their loved ones in such a brutal manner. The emotional scars left by the crimes were deep, and many family members struggled with post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and anxiety. The community of Southern California was also deeply affected by the crimes. The random nature of the abductions and the sheer brutality of the acts shattered the sense of safety and trust within the community. Parents became more vigilant, and the case served as a stark reminder of the dangers that lurked in the shadows. Media coverage and public reaction. The Toolbox Killers case received extensive media coverage, both during the investigation and the trial. The gruesome details of the crimes, combined with the chilling audio recordings, captivated the public's attention and sparked widespread outrage. The media played a crucial role in keeping the case in the public eye and maintained pressure on law enforcement to bring the perpetrators to justice. Public reaction to the case was one of horror and disbelief. The sheer brutality of the crimes and the sadistic pleasure taken by Bittaker and Norris shocked and appalled people across the country. The case also prompted discussions about the need for better resources and support for victims of violent crime, and the importance of early intervention for individuals exhibiting signs of sadistic behavior. Lessons learned. The Toolbox Killers case offers several important lessons for society. First and foremost, it underscores the critical importance of law enforcement diligence and the need for thorough investigations in cases of suspected abduction and torture. The persistence of investigators, combined with the bravery of those who came forward with information, was instrumental in bringing Bittaker and Norris to justice. The case also highlights the need for comprehensive mental health services and early intervention for individuals displaying signs of sadistic behavior. Addressing these issues proactively can help prevent future tragedies and protect potential victims. Continuing the fight for justice. Despite the conviction of Bittaker and Norris, the fight for justice continues for the victims' families. Efforts to support victims of violent crime and raise awareness about the dangers of sadistic predators have been ongoing. Advocacy groups have worked to promote better resources and support for victims and their families, emphasizing the need for vigilance and community solidarity in the face of such heinous acts. The legacy of Bittaker and Norris's crimes serves as a stark reminder of the potential for human cruelty and the importance of protecting the most vulnerable members of society. The memory of those who suffered at the hands of the Toolbox Killers serves as a powerful reminder of the enduring impact of their actions and the ongoing fight for justice and protection. That's all for today's video. If you found this video informative and want to hear more true crime stories, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Click the bell icon to get notified every time we post a new video.